The United States and Iran are gearing up for another round of indirect nuclear talks. These talks are scheduled to take place in Oman on Saturday. The announcement has been met with a mixed bag of hope and skepticism. There is a deep mistrust between the two nations. This mistrust stems from decades of animosity and broken promises. The U.S. maximum pressure campaign, initiated under the previous Trump administration, has significantly eroded Iran's trust in American intentions. The U.S. withdrawal from the 2015 nuclear deal further exacerbated the situation. This withdrawal was seen as a betrayal by Tehran. It fueled anti-American sentiment within Iran. Iran demands concrete gestures from the U.S. before considering direct talks. These gestures could include sanctions, relief, or the unfreezing of Iranian assets. Tehran wants to see real action, not just words. They want assurances that the U.S. is serious about finding a solution. The U.S., on the other hand, insists on direct talks. This difference in approach highlights the deep chasm that needs to be bridged. The upcoming talks are a crucial step. It remains to be seen if they will pave the way for a more constructive dialogue. The U.S. and Iran are entering the talks with vastly different objectives. This difference in expectations further complicates the already fragile situation. The U.S., under President Trump, has laid out a clear set of demands. Trump's demands are comprehensive. He wants Iran to cease its regional influence, dismantle its nuclear program, and halt its missile development. These demands are seen as non-starters by Tehran. Iran views its defense capabilities as non-negotiable, particularly given Israel's undeclared nuclear arsenal. Iran maintains that its nuclear program is for peaceful purposes. They argue that they have a right to develop nuclear technology for energy and other civilian uses. The international community remains divided on this issue. The U.S. withdrawal from the 2015 nuclear deal has also emboldened hardliners within Iran. These hardliners are opposed to any concessions to the West. They see the U.S. demands as an infringement on Iranian sovereignty. This internal dynamic within Iran further complicates the possibility of a negotiated settlement. The U.S.-Iran nuclear talks are taking place against a backdrop of simmering regional tensions. These tensions, particularly involving Israel and Iranian allies, cast a long shadow over the negotiations. The involvement of Israel in the U.S. decision-making process has further fueled Iranian suspicions. The presence of Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu during Trump's announcement regarding the talks was perceived as a provocation by Tehran. Netanyahu has been a vocal critic of Iran's nuclear program. He has consistently advocated for a more hardline stance against Tehran. The region has been grappling with instability and conflict for years. The ongoing conflicts in Gaza, Lebanon, and Yemen have further exacerbated regional tensions. These conflicts have drawn in regional and international actors, creating a complex web of alliances and rivalries. Iran's support for groups like Hezbollah in Lebanon and Hamas in Gaza is a major point of contention with Israel and the U.S. These groups are considered terrorist organizations by the U.S. and Israel. Iran, however, views them as legitimate resistance movements fighting against Israeli occupation. The international community is watching the U.S.-Iran nuclear talks with bated breath. The outcome of these talks has far-reaching implications, not just for the Middle East but for global security as well. Russia and China have emerged as key players in the Iranian nuclear issue. Both countries have expressed support for dialogue and a peaceful resolution to the standoff. Russia has deepened its strategic ties with Iran, signing a 20-year strategic partnership agreement. China, on the other hand, has been critical of the U.S. withdrawal from the 2015 nuclear deal. The potential outcomes of the talks remain uncertain. A successful agreement could pave the way for a gradual easing of tensions. It could also unlock economic benefits for Iran, which has been crippled by sanctions. However, failure to reach an agreement could have dire consequences. A collapse of the talks could lead to an escalation of regional conflicts. It could also further isolate Iran and push it closer to developing a nuclear weapon. The stakes are high, and the world is watching to see if diplomacy can triumph over decades of mistrust and animosity.